I woke up tangled in sheets and memory. His scent still clung to my skin, musky, masculine, unmistakable. My body ached in all the right places, as if it knew I'd crossed a line I could never uncross. The sunlight crept through the blinds, but it was the night that still held me hostage. Every breath I took whispered his name, like my body was still calling him back to bed. The pillow beside me was empty, still dented from the weight of him. I trailed my fingers along the indentation, remembering the way he held me, not gently, but like he needed me to keep breathing. His voice echoed in my mind, low and rough against my ear, "I don't want this to be the last time." But that promise, like so many, hung in the air, beautiful, impossible, and too dangerous to believe. In the silence, I replayed every touch, every look. The way his hand searched my body like a secret map, how his lips kissed like he was starving and I was his last meal. But it wasn't just sex. There was something else behind his eyes, pain, maybe. Or guilt. Whatever it was, it mirrored mine. We weren't just lovers. We were two broken things that fit too perfectly, and I didn't know if that made us real, or doomed. I wrapped myself in a robe, but it was no match for the chill that settled in my bones. The air in the apartment was thick with ghosts, of what happened last night, of what could happen again. My legs were shaky, but not from exhaustion. From the thrill. From the fear. Because the way he looked at me, it didn't feel casual. It felt like a promise wrapped in danger, and I didn't know how to walk away from that kind of fire. Standing at the window, city lights fading into morning haze, I tried to remind myself who I was before him. Strong. Self-contained. Untouchable. But now, I was unraveling. Not just from his hands, but from the way he saw me, like he could read every hidden craving, every buried ache. And worst of all, he didn't look away. He leaned in. Like he wanted all the mess I'd spent years trying to clean up. I checked my phone, half hoping to see his name, half dreading it. Nothing. Just the usual noise, emails, missed calls, reality trying to claw its way back in. But I didn't want normal. Not after what I felt last night. I wanted him, his chaos, his touch, the way he kissed me like the world was ending and I was his last breath. I still remembered the look in his eyes before he left. That hesitation. Like he wanted to say something but didn't trust the words. Or maybe he knew that if he spoke, I'd fall harder. And maybe he didn't want to be responsible for that. For me. For this thing between us that was already turning into something neither of us could control. The scent of him still haunted my skin. I leaned in close, inhaling the phantom memory like it could answer my questions. What did this mean? Was it just lust? Or was it the beginning of something I wasn't ready for, something raw and dangerous and real? I didn't know. But I knew I was already in too deep. There was a moment last night, right after, when he looked at me like I was more than just a body. Like I was a storm he didn't mind drowning in. I should have been afraid. But I wasn't. I wanted to be the thing that pulled him under. I wanted to lose myself in him too. Maybe that's what scared me the most. I ran a bath, the water steaming, my mind spinning. I slipped in, letting the heat wash over me, but it did nothing to cool the fire he'd lit in me. Every inch of me still felt claimed. Branded. His hands had left more than bruises, they'd left questions. Like who I was now. And who I was becoming, because of him. The quiet of the bathroom gave me no answers, only echoes. I closed my eyes, head resting on the edge of the tub, replaying his voice in my mind. The low, husky way he said my name, like a secret, like a sin. I bit my lip, heart thudding. It shouldn't have meant this much. But it did. And it was starting to change me. Later, wrapped in my robe, I stood by the window. The city moved without me, indifferent, fast, cold. But I was still burning. His hands had found places in me I'd forgotten, made me feel wanted in ways I hadn't allowed myself to imagine in years. I felt alive. Unsteady, but alive. Like standing on a ledge. And wanting to jump. The memory of him on top of me wasn't leaving. Not the weight of him. Not the words he whispered when he thought I was half asleep. "You're dangerous," he'd said. But I think he meant it as a compliment. I liked the way he feared me. As if he knew I could ruin him, and still came closer. I opened my laptop, intending to work, but my fingers hovered over the keyboard uselessly. I was distracted, haunted, craving. It wasn't just the sex, though that alone was addictive, it was the pull. Like we were both unraveling something forbidden, and neither of us wanted to stop. We didn't just touch. We collided. The doorbell startled me. My heart leapt before my mind could catch up. I wasn't expecting anyone, but a part of me hoped. I tightened the robe and walked slowly to the door, already knowing who I wanted it to be. And when I opened it, it was. He stood there, eyes heavy, rain still clinging to his jacket. I couldn't stay away. I didn't speak. Neither did he. The tension was electric, thick. His eyes dropped to the edge of my robe, slightly parted, dangerously close to falling open. I stepped aside without a word. He stepped in, dripping wet, leaving a trail behind him, and all I could think about was how badly I wanted him to ruin me again. "I dreamt of you," he whispered, breath brushing my ear as he circled me from behind. "You were on top of me, commanding, wild. And I couldn't stop you." His hand slid around my waist, fingers grazing skin. I leaned back into him, lips parted. "Why did you come?" I asked. "To finish the dream," he growled. He tugged the sash of my robe loose, slow and deliberate. It fluttered to the floor like a silk secret. I turned to face him, no shame, no fear. Only need. Only fire. He kissed me like he was starved, like he'd been denied oxygen and I was the only breath that mattered. It was desperate, and dangerous. We didn't make it to the bedroom. The hallway wall became our stage, hands pressed, legs wrapped, clothes half on and forgotten. He lifted me like I weighed nothing, like I belonged there. Every thrust, every moan, was a promise broken and remade. It was messy, real, raw, and impossibly good. After, we collapsed on the floor, tangled limbs, sweaty skin, hearts pounding. He looked at me, not with lust, but with something heavier. "This isn't just sex anymore," he said softly. "I don't want to share you." My throat tightened. Because the twist wasn't that he was falling for me. The twist was that I already had someone else.